Welcome back, Emily. Birdie wants to say hello. I'm back with another Q&A. Honestly, I'd love some ideas for videos of what you guys want to see because I don't know, this winter it's been really hard to come up with something to do and something to film. It's just so cold outside and I want to vlog like going out and doing fun stuff. But I've literally just been like in my house for what feels like months because it's just been so cold, and I'd love to hear some suggestions for videos you guys might want to see. But for today, we're just gonna do a Q&A. There are a few videos that I have in mind right now that I want to film. I'm definitely gonna film my top surgery, and I also wanted to film a video opening up and talking about my relationship because that's something that I've been kind of secretive about, especially on here. Like, I haven't really explicitly talked about the people I'm with and how it came to be. I think I want to make a whole video where I just kind of explain some things because I have been pretty open about my relationship on my other platforms, on TikTok and Instagram. I've like posted photos with my boyfriends, but yeah, I haven't really like sat down and said out loud on here that I have two boyfriends and my boyfriends are married to each other and the three of us are a throuple. At this point, obviously it's not something that I'm trying to hide, but yeah, after my last relationship like years ago, I think I did kind of regret the way that I went about sharing that online. I definitely want to be a little bit more private about this relationship, not like filming sit down videos with them or anything in the way that I did with my previous boyfriend, but I don't know, it's something that I feel like it's weird at this point that I haven't really said anything about it, especially because, you know, being in a throuple, it's something that's pretty taboo. I think that's part of the reason why I've been weird about talking about it like this. But yeah, I think soon I'm gonna make a video just kind of explaining some things about our relationship and just kind of telling our little love story. But I will say I did get a lot of questions for this Q&A that relate to my relationship. People have a lot of questions about me being in a throuple and my boyfriends. So yeah, I will be answering a lot of those questions today, and in a later video we'll probably elaborate. But yeah, let's get into the questions. Do you think you will get another job besides being a YouTuber? My main thing is still social media, but I also do photography on the side. If I wanted to, I could shift gears and focus more energy towards that and have it be more of a steady source of income for me, because it is part of my job and something that I've made money doing, but it's definitely not my main source of income. But I see myself in the future putting a lot more energy towards that rather than social media. But I'm really happy to be in a place where I can do both right now and kind of put my energy where I feel like I need to put my energy at the moment. And photography for me like really doesn't feel like work. I love taking photos, I love editing them, and getting positive feedback on my photos always makes me so happy. I will say it takes up a lot of time sitting down and editing photos. And real talk to my fellow photographers or anyone who works from a desk, I know many of you are like me, sitting in a chair and editing for hours on end. And let's be honest, our backs, not loving it. I've even tried standing while editing, but that just made my hips feel tight. I get so zoned in sometimes, and by the time I'm done editing, my back is in shambles. I've experienced lower back pain ever since my pregnancies, and sitting at a computer for long periods of time does not help whatsoever. I realized it was time to get some help. That's when I found today's sponsor, ZocDoc.com/Cam&Fam. I'd like to thank ZocDoc for sponsoring today's video. ZocDoc is this awesome free site that helps you find top-rated doctors, including chiropractors, near you. You just plug in what you need and boom, you get a list of specialists who take your insurance, with real reviews and open appointments that you can book on the spot. It can be so frustrating trying to find a quality provider through your insurance company, or just being left on your own to call multiple doctor's offices to see if they can take your insurance. You don't even need to talk to someone to get an appointment. It just takes a few clicks to book. I booked myself a chiropractor appointment with just a few taps, and I'm already on the road to feeling better. Take care of yourself. Trust me, it is way easier to book a visit than it is to keep working with that sore neck and stiff back. If you've been putting off that medical visit, now's the time to take action. Make your health a priority this new year. Start strong and set the tone for 2025. Support my channel and feel better. Go to ZocDoc.com/Cam&Fam and get back to feeling good. Thank you again, ZocDoc, for sponsoring today's video. Best memory of 2025 so far. I think that would be yesterday. It snowed yesterday and the girls got to play in snow together for the first time. Dee Dee's never seen snow. And I think the last time Coco saw snow was when we went to Colorado when she was really little. And yeah, it was just a really nice morning to wake up and hang out and make a snowman and have hot cocoa. I did not expect it to snow this year, so that was really cool. If you could say something to 16-year-old Cam, what would it be? Jeez, that's a doozy. I'd probably just tell myself to stop worrying so much about what other people think and that it's gonna be okay and that things get better. And I feel really free now. And I just want to tell myself to hold on. Would you legally change your name? I'm really lucky to have a name that's already pretty androgynous. I know way more boys named Cameron than I do girls named Cameron. And I mostly go by Cam, which I guess the only gripe I have with my name is the way that it's spelt. Having like a Y in there. I've never liked that it's like spelt differently than all the other Camerons I know, because it's just confusing and people spell it wrong all the time. But also it just feels like a way more feminine way to spell it. So if I did ever legally change my name, it would literally just be to change the spelling of Cameron, which feels really dumb, especially because like I said, I mostly go by Cam. If I had to change my name to something other than Cameron, I would choose Owen. I almost named both of the girls Owen. It's a name that was like on my list. And when I was trying to pick their names, I really, really liked that name, but I couldn't imagine that being my kid's name. Like it didn't feel like something I would choose for my kid, but it's a name that I really loved and just always kind of stuck with me. And so yeah, I think I would choose the name Owen for myself, but Cam is cool too. Maybe one day I'll change my middle name to Owen or something. But yeah, not really the top of my priority list, not something that I really care to do. What do your daughters call your partners? They just call them by their names. My daughters met my partners like 2 years ago because we were friends for a really long time before we started dating. So yeah, they just knew them as Cody and Sean. Are you still on good terms with Landon's family? This is one of those questions that I get very, very consistently all the time. Ever since Landon passed away, people are really curious how much I keep in touch with his family. And I think there's been a lot of assumptions around that and people assuming that I don't and that they just never get to see their grandkids. And that's not true at all. Like, they are family to me. They're my in-laws still. Landon's stepdad, I literally call him my stepdad. I've known him since I was like 14. So even if it weren't for my kids, I would still see them as my family. And you know, they treat me like family. It's very clear that I mean a lot to them and they love me and they're really happy to have me in their lives. But also like I'm raising their grandchildren and their nieces. So yeah, they're still family. I still keep in touch with them. They see the kids often. What do your children call you? That's another question that gets repeated a lot. And I feel like I've answered this, but I'll go ahead and answer it again because it's literally the #1 question I get. The kids call me mama. That's what they've called me since they were babies. I don't think it's something that I want to ask them to change, you know? I could see one day them calling me dad instead of mama, just kind of as they get older. But as of right now, I just see it as their nickname for me. It doesn't have this weight of being like a gendered term. I don't really feel that gendered weight until it's someone else calling me their mom. Like my friends and family call me the girl's parent. So instead of saying, oh, you're such a good mom, they would say, oh, you're such a good parent. I'm really glad that the girls have a parent like you. And yeah, I don't know, it just kind of is what it is, and it's not as confusing or confronting as people might think it is. I'm just mama to them and them only. What is something you hope to accomplish in 2025? I'd really like to make some more friends this year. I have some friends that are long distance that I talk to on FaceTime all the time, but I had a best friend who lived close by who I saw all the time. It was like my go-to person to hang out with. And now we're dating, so I just don't really have a friend to hang out with anymore in the same way that I used to. Obviously, I love hanging out with my boyfriend. He's very much still my best friend, but you know, it's not quite the same. So I think this year, prioritizing making friends and seeing people and being social, definitely something I want to accomplish this year. Is this throuple relationship long term? It's definitely something that I see long term and that I'm really committed to, and it's like a serious relationship. It's not just for fun, you know? I feel like people have an idea about throuples that it's like really, I don't know, flimsy, or something that's seen as just like fun and interesting for a short period of time, but doesn't have any longevity to it. I see a real future with my partners and the three of us being together for a really long time. What was your first date as a throuple? Prior to us like officially becoming a throuple, we would hang out, the three of us, a lot. So there was a lot of things looking back that felt like it was a throuple date before we were actually a throuple. But I don't know, I'd have to kind of look back on that. I might have some photos refresh my memory. I think our first throuple date was just a little movie night that we had, and my boyfriend loves to paint nails, and so we took turns doing each other's nails, but each of us did one hand. So I did one of my boyfriend's hands, and then I did one of my other boyfriend's hands, and they both did one of my hands. And they both did one of each other's hands. And each hand was like a completely different design. And so I ended up with one hand that was a bunch of fruit, and then the other hand was kiwis. And yeah, we just watched a movie and hung out, and I think that was our first date as a throuple. If that counts, I think that counts. And then shortly after that, all three of us went and got sushi with my whole family for my sister's birthday. So that might have been the first time we all like went out as a throuple. Are you thinking of leaving Texas with everything that's going on? We're trying to stick it out for now, but it's definitely a conversation. I think if we did leave Texas, it wouldn't be anytime soon. We're just waiting and seeing. None of us necessarily want to leave, and this feels like home to us. It takes some pretty extreme situation for us to make that decision. But, you know, me and my boyfriend are both trans and living in a red state. If they start taking away our access to gender affirming care, you know, we'd kind of have no choice but to leave Texas. How do you deal with all the hate you get? At this point, it feels so not personal. I've been on the internet for a really long time, and there were certain points where the hate that I was getting felt really personal. Part of me started to believe the negative things I was hearing about myself all the time. And yeah, it was really easy for me to take it personally because it was a lot of personal attacks on my character and the person that I am and the partner that I am and the parent that I am. And that all felt like I said, just really personal. And it was really easy to let the hate get to me. But I don't know, the things that I get hate for now are just so not personal, you know, like people don't understand my relationship. It confuses them and they think it's weird, and so they hate on it, and that kind of feels like it has nothing to do with me necessarily. Or people hate that I'm trans and are bigots and have that opinion about every trans person, like it's not just me. It's not personal, you know? Just realizing that it really has nothing to do with me helps a lot to just kind of ignore it, you know? How long have you and your boyfriends been together for? It'll be 6 months this month. How long have you been on T for? And what's the most noticeable changes? I've been on T for 4 months now. And I don't know, it's hard to say what the most noticeable changes are. Because when I think like noticeable, that feels like, okay, like physically noticeable. I'd say the biggest changes have been internal changes, just having to do with my mood and my energy levels. I don't know, I have a bit of a mustache coming in, and my chin hairs are a lot longer than they used to be, and I'm having to shave my face. Not really having to shave my face, more so like I don't like looking fuzzy and patchy, so I do shave my face. I do think I could get away with not shaving it, but that's mostly it. I feel like the change has been pretty slow and steady and consistent. How did you meet your partners? I'll explain the whole story in another video, but Long story short, we met at a concert. Are you still solo parenting, or do your partners help you with any parenting duties? I definitely say that this is the most involved anyone's ever been in me raising my kids in the past like 4 years. You know, my previous partner would like hang out with my kids and we'd go and get lunch, all 4 of us. And you know, he helped me like tuck them in bed sometimes and would kind of hang around for the fun parts. But I still very much was a solo parent in that relationship. Whereas yeah, I'd say the dynamic is definitely a lot different with my current partners. A huge part of that is that we live together. But I don't know, even before we were dating, when we were just friends, they were just as helpful and there for me. You know, there was a few situations where I went to my family and asked for help. I would be like, yeah, I'm in a pickle. Like one time our AC broke and it was in the middle of summer and it was like 90 degrees in our house. We couldn't stay there. And I have quite a bit of family that lives in Austin and no one was willing to make room for us. And then my partners were like, of course you could stay here. You could stay as long as you need. We got plenty of groceries. You're good. We're gonna take care of you until your AC gets fixed. And yeah, a bunch of little situations like that where they were my support, like kind of my go-to people for that support that every single parent needs. And so to transition from that to like having them help me with parenting stuff, it was a really seamless transition and just kind of made sense. I could also make a whole video about that. But yeah, I feel really, really grateful for the role that they play in the girls' lives and how much they care and how much they love them and the weight that they take off of my shoulders. But yeah, that was the last question. Like I said, let me know what you want to see, what you want to hear about. If you have any specific questions about the topics that I mentioned that you want me to go into more detail about in a different video, leave it all in the comments. Thank you again, ZocDoc, for sponsoring today's video. Support my channel and feel better. Go to ZocDoc.com/Cam&Fam and get back to feeling good. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video, Camily.